Well, hello, everyone. Thank you so much for attending today. You are in the right place. You're in Kitchen Table Finances. So just think about me sitting on the other side of the table here of you. You've got your coffee or your tea, anything that works best for you. And we're just going to have an open and honest conversation about some things about finances. And really and truly, finances aren't that difficult, but we seem to make it that way. And I've got a little story to talk to you about that. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. All right. Well, again, thank you so much for attending today. We're going to have some real talk, real numbers, and some real change. And because money is such a sensitive topic, I'm going to do some overview, but I'm also going to give some stories today because that seems to be the way that people can understand it a little bit better because everybody's situation is so completely different as far as how much money they make, how much money they have, what are their investments, what are their savings accounts, do they own property, do they have a family, how much are their expenses. I mean, the list can go on and on and on. Just wanted to put a quick disclaimer out there. I will not be talking about retirement or real estate, investments, or insurance because I am the financial coach who is there for your wallet. So I don't worry about all of those things. That's why there's great people like financial advisors and financial planners that can help you with that. But my name is Nancy Ward. I am a financial coach and I have been supporting families since 2021. You'll hear a little bit about my journey throughout my story, but I wanted to help other people with their finances because if you're not a money person, if you're not a numbers person, if all of this stuff just overwhelms you, I'm the kind of person that geeks out on numbers, so I can definitely help you out with that. I provide non-judgmental support, and that's really important. So again, we're just sitting across the table from each other, having a cup of coffee, having a great conversation. And because I've been there too. I've bought the things I shouldn't have. And even last night, I found something else that I just bought about 2 weeks ago when I already had one in the basement in a drawer that I probably would have never found at all. So I get it. And I help you with building a plan for success. And that's really what it comes down to because a lot of you have probably said, oh, yeah, I've tried budgets. I've tried Dave Ramsey. No offense to Dave Ramsey. I've tried the envelope system. I've tried this system. Nothing seems to work. And what it comes down to is that you don't really have a plan. You just say, I want to just have a better financial situation. So having that financial plan is really having a plan to work with your finances is really important. Why you are here. There's a lot of people who have the same common challenges. They're feeling stressed about money. Whether it was before the pandemic, after the pandemic, before you lost your job, after you lost your job, it doesn't really matter. Finances stress people out. You might be avoiding your statements or the bills, or guess what? You get one in the mail. I get my trash through the mail, and then I get my Verizon bill through the email, and then my statements are online. So I can completely understand why it can be a little bit stressful. And you might not be knowing exactly where your money is going. As I just said, we've got so many different ways for it to communicate with us. It's really, really hard. So we're going to learn a few things today. And I'm sure you're sitting there going, okay, Nancy, I know how to do this. I know how to do this. But you know what? The person sitting next to you at the table here might say, yeah, I don't even know where to go for my credit score. Why does it matter? I thought I had a good credit score. So I'm just going to go over some of those topics just so people understand and you have a better background about it. So today we're going to say yes to clarity, to confidence, and to doable steps. And that's so, so important because this is a very challenging thing to deal with, to work with, whether it's mentally, physically, numerically. Because I have some friends who are like, Nancy, I am so not with numbers. And I'm like, yep, but no to complicated spreadsheets, shame, or lectures, because that's not who I am. So we're going to get our magic wand because everybody wants a magic wand for money, right? They're like, "Yeah, I want a magic wand. I want to make sure want to figure out my debt." Well, guess what? Just wanted to burst your bubble today. I'll be the first one. There is no magic wand. And I consider money kind of like losing weight. And this is a little bit of my story, but what I'm going to tell you today is really going to relate to losing weight because in June, that was Memorial Day of 2013, I had that lovely figure on the left. And I'm like, okay, this is it. This is ridiculous. I keep on looking at the pictures. I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to make some changes. Fast forward, because you'll hear my story, but fast forward 8 months later, I lost 45 pounds. Now, life, and I've gained some back. But doesn't that happen with money? That is the crazy thing, is that it happens with money as well. We're going to talk about your credit score really quick. Your credit score is basically like your report card for your money. How have you been doing? Are you spending too much money? Are you over budget? Are you late to all of your bills that you're sending into? Have you borrowed too much money and that's the reason why your credit score is low? The credit score ranges anywhere between 350 and 850. And usually to go get a loan, anywhere between 620 and above is always a good number. And you'll find that out if you go and get a loan, whether it's for a car or things like that. And you're like, Nancy, well, I don't need a car. I don't need a house. I don't need all this other stuff. The problem is that if something happens, somebody sideswipes your car and you have to get a new car, you might not have the cash sitting there, but you need to go ahead and get a new vehicle, whether it's a new or a used, it doesn't really matter. But you might have to use that credit score in order to go get a loan. You can find it in so many different places, such as your credit cards, and on your apps usually tell you there's somewhere either on the app or on the website that's going to give you that credit score. And again, that gives you an idea of how you're doing, just like your pant size. How am I doing? Okay, yeah, they're getting a little loose, things like that. I'm doing some good things and I feel like I'm losing weight. So, why this checking your money really builds awareness is because you might have that drop, but it also might happen where you are doing stuff intentionally and all of a sudden you've got a bonus at work and you paid down your Visa card. And guess what? Now your score went down 35 points. Woohoo! And then lives. You had to open up a Lowe's card because you needed a new stove or you needed a new refrigerator or whatever. You're like, oh my gosh, I don't have $2,500 to buy a new refrigerator. I'm going to go ahead and open up a Lowe's card so that I can do 24 months, same as cash. That's another story for another day. But that is another reason why your credit score may go down, is because you opened up another line of credit. So all of these different things are, anything that you do in a given day is going to change how your credit score changes, just like what you eat, right? What you eat today might affect your waistline in a week, especially if you went to a graduation party or you went on vacation or things like that. So your action is to write down your latest credit score. Easy to do. Like I said, I'm going to give you doable steps today. So I want you to go ahead and look online, find out what the credit score is, start tracking it, just for general information. And if you really want to go down that rabbit hole, there is plenty of information on the website or on your credit card app, which is going to tell you what things that you do with your money gives you that credit score. Next is your credit card balances. Okay, now the credit card balances is like, what are you eating? I was on MyFitnessPal and I would log in every single food that I ate and every single exercise that I did. And I was watching my everything every single day. But if you're not doing that every single day, at least every single week or every single month. So looking at your credit card balances is really important, because you might realize, oh my gosh, I've spent more than I should. I'm getting close to my limit. Am I not paying it on time? Am I getting late fees? Oh my gosh. And even checking it, I was out of town this past weekend and the hotel charged me $53. I'm like, what's this about? Because I'm checking my numbers all the time, just, seeing what's going on. And I was thinking, okay, there was another person who said that they got two hotel rooms and their credit card got hacked. So they bought the one, but somehow their credit card got hacked and went and bought another credit card. It's like, okay, now I got to deal with this, because maybe somebody stole my card, my identity, who knows? And Sunday night, I'm sitting there and all of a sudden I get a text message. I'm like, this is an online order. I didn't buy this. A minute later, my daughter says, Mom, I had to use your credit card because my transaction didn't go through. Okay, good. But I'm calling the Westin on Monday because I don't know why I got charged $53. By middle of the day on Monday, there was a credit. I'm like, okay, that must have been the incidental things. But if you're not checking this, even on a monthly basis, you might be leaking money and you don't even know it. And you're like, yeah, Nancy, I know this, right? You're sitting back at the kitchen table with me. And you're like, I know this. But in the back of your mind, you might be going, yeah, it's been like about 3 months since I've looked at my statements. It's okay. That's what happens. It's okay. We go through these seasons in our lives where we pay attention to something or we don't pay attention to something. But again, you're going to see with your credit card balances how your spending choices are changing. Whether you're like, okay, we really need to stop dining out, or, oh, okay, now that we got the kid in college, whew, I don't have to worry about all of those expenses this month and the next month because we bought the sheets and the laundry detergent and all, a laundry list of stuff that you just spent over the summer in order to get your kid to college. You didn't even realize how much money you might have spent. And did you budget? Maybe, maybe not. But again, those are the things to be paying attention to. So in the financial journal that I have, again, you have a page that's dedicated directly for that. What's my MasterCard? What's my Visa? What's my Target card? And just to let you know, as a side note, anything that is not MasterCard Visa usually starts at 29.99%. Your Target card, Kohl's card, Lowe's card, any store type card usually starts at 30%. And it has nothing to do with the economy at this point in time. They just can take advantage of that. I don't know how. Again, I don't go down that rabbit hole, but I'm going to tell you what I do know is majority of your credit cards can be anywhere from, on an average, 17 to 25%. But also, too, depending on how you use it, if you have late fees, your credit score, all these other things determine that number. But as you see in this example, the MasterCard Visas are a little bit lower than the Target. But if you look at this and you add that up really quick and go, wow, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe 9, that's already $900. I'm not doing the math here. I know I'm a numbers person, but quickly, that's about not close to $900 a month just for your credit cards. You also have your rent or mortgage, possibly a car payment, possibly insurance. Of course, you've got to pay your electricity unless it's included with your rent. You got to pay gasoline if you need it, or any kind of transportation costs. Food, entertainment. But wow, $900 out of all of the money that's coming in goes to your credit cards. That might be a shocker to some people on the call. They're like, okay, I finally stepped on the scale. I realized I'm 30 pounds more than I really wanted to be. I got to make a change. And it's okay. It's okay if today is your day to say, I got to make a change. Because June of 2013, I said, I got to make a change. And one of the first things that I did, what did I start doing? I said, I'm going to do this all by myself. I'm going to watch what I eat. I'm going to exercise. I'm going to just, I'm going to focus on this. Yes, I got my life and I got my family and all this other good stuff, but I'm going to focus on this. And sometimes we have to take that time in our life to focus on our finances. Because guess what? When I focused on my diet, my exercise, all of that good stuff, positive things were happening. I didn't have to pay as much attention to it because I had a system in place. And it wasn't until I was 30 pounds down that I said, I'm going to join the gym. I mean, really? And I'm going to get a personal trainer. Yeah, I'm going to do it because I knew that I could go to a professional and say, hey, I lost this weight. I need more help. I wasn't embarrassed. I just said, this is what I got to do. And let me tell you, after working out with my personal trainer, I actually enjoyed doing push-ups. Just like I've had some clients who say, Nancy, I really enjoy paying my bills. I'm like, yeah, because once you enjoy something that's a hard thing for you to do, you start seeing the successes, you start seeing the results, and you feel so much better. So that's why I said it. It's like this is kind of I was just this last week, all of a sudden it just came to me. I said, losing my finances is just like losing weight. And that's why I was like, I got to add this into the conversation with this workshop. So the other thing to look at is the monthly bills and the accounts. You're like, okay, all right, Nancy, I wasn't expecting to come to this workshop because again, you're sitting across the table from me and you're like, all right, you need to fill that coffee up because I was not expecting that I was paying this much money in credit card charges all along with everything else. You're like, okay, keep talking, Nancy. Come on. I got to know more. How do I figure this out? Because I need to make a change. How do I figure this out? Your monthly bills. So having a list of all the bills you got going on. All right, let's go back to it. You got your rent and your mortgage or your car payment, your just all of those different things. Put it on a calendar. Make it look exciting. Here's mine for August. All right, so I've got all my bills and when they get paid, and then I'm putting on the dates of when I did pay them because my American Express. I put a few things on that card to keep it open. The bill comes around, it's like $218. I'm like, boom! As soon as I see it come through, saying, "Hey, you've got a statement for American Express," I log into my app. I say, "Yep, $218." I approve all those charges. I hit send boom, my account's back to zero. I don't have to think about it until the next time I get that email. But that might not be the case for everybody. And of course, not every single credit card, because your other credit cards, you're like, Nancy, my other credit card is more than $200 a month. That's like my minimum payment. Okay, no problem. But that's what we all end up doing. It's like, well, this bill is at the wrong time of the month. No, it's the wrong time of your money. So there's different ways for you to manage this. You can send a few payments a month, things like that. But again, if you don't have it organized, you don't have it visually. If you have it all on your phone, great. But you got to have it visually somewhere so then you can see it because it's all sitting rent free in your head. You want it to be available for you in paper or on a physical in front of you to view it and go, yep, I got my money coming in. Yep. Or if you're an entrepreneur, you're like, yeah, every Monday I get sales, I know it. And then by Thursday, I can send that money in. And then boom, I got part of that bill paid off. But if you're staying ahead of your bills instead of scrambling, it's really, really helpful because that's what happens. We forget, we get flustered, we don't want to deal with it. We just put all the mail to the side. And then what happens? Oh, crap, I got a late fee. Well, avoid all these things with that. So take all of those bills, including all of your MasterCard, Visa, Discover, American Express, all of that, put it in a calendar, make it visual for you. So list out your bills, list out the due dates, put it down somewhere so you can view it. So here's some other tips about reducing your credit card balances. Because again, you didn't come here thinking, yeah, I got a debt problem. Or maybe you did. Maybe you did. Otherwise, you're like, well, Nancy, I don't have any credit card debt. But I'll come support you because, I want to learn a little bit more about you and how you work with your clients and so forth. But I don't have any credit card debt. Well, fantastic. Great. What are you doing with that extra money? I met somebody this weekend and he's like, I make so much money, I don't even know where it goes. My bills aren't late, but I don't even know where it goes. That's okay. But having a focus for your money, having a goal. Do you want to put your kids in college? Do you want to get that dream home? Do you want to get the second home? I mean, who doesn't want to say, I have a house in the Hamptons? Not that I ever would want a house in the Hamptons, but my point is that we all have our different goals of where we want our money to go. So you need to figure out how to make that work. So my first 30 pounds, I was DIYing. My last 15, and she warned me, she said, Nancy, you're not going to lose weight in the next month. And I was like, why? And she said, because you're going to gain muscle. I was like, well, I didn't know that. So teach me more. Because I didn't know. I didn't have any idea. I just knew eat better and exercise and I'm going to lose weight. Didn't know, hey, doing push-ups is going to help with my muscles and my, okay. So I went to a professional to get that help. So one of the ways to reduce your credit card balances is knowing your balances and your interest rates. Keep in mind, if you're not paying off the whole balance at the end of the billing cycle, in theory, you're kind of tipping your credit card companies $249 a month for the convenience of you not paying off that card. And I understand if you're like, Nancy, I went through a life situation. I don't have the extra money to pay down the credit cards. No problem. But if you don't have that going on, you might say, maybe I need to reduce my spending and move that money towards something else, which is paying down my debt so I can enjoy my money more. But if that's the case, focus on the minimums and take one card and put extra money towards that every single week, month, whatever. So you might get paid every 2 weeks, send an extra payment every 2 weeks to this credit card besides the regular payment. Like every other week, you're sending the full payment or you're putting an extra payment. And people talk about that all the time about how do you pay off your mortgage? Well, you send a principal payment 2 weeks after your other one. There's so many different tips and tricks, but are you doing it? That's what it comes down to. Are you doing it? Are you tracking it? Are you feeling comfortable about where your money's going out? Avoiding new debt while paying it down is really super important because what's the point of putting more on a credit card when you're already paying that finance charge every single month? And I didn't know that before I got married. I just kept on putting it on and putting it on and putting it on. And that's what got me into $40,000 of credit card debt before I was married. And I'm like, I'm never doing this again. I'm like, what was I thinking? Consider balance transfers, but have a plan to pay them off. So important. You can do that balance transfer for 0%. That helps you for the next 12 months to not pay that interest fee. But what's your plan? Because you don't want to walk out after that balance transfer having more credit card debt than what you started with. So balance transfers aren't bad or evil. You just got to know how to use them appropriately and track it and all those other good things. Now, when I first started this business, I looked at my old credit card statements and I found an old credit card statement that said, here's your current balance and how much you're paying in interest. And here's your balance transfer and how much you're paying in interest. And then here's an extra promotional offer and how much you're paying in interest. I'm like, oh my gosh, I did a balance transfer on top of a balance transfer. Like, again, what was I thinking? But 20 something years ago, I didn't understand money. We didn't have access to all of this information. We didn't have credit score information. Oh my gosh, you do a credit report once a year, and if not, then it'd be a hit to your credit report. We didn't have access. We waited till the statement came to our house, then we wrote a check and we sent it in the mail. Money has changed so much over the last 20 years, but unfortunately, a lot of us are still tapping and paying a lot more than what we used to 20, even 10 years ago. But another important thing is to track your progress monthly, even if it's just you downloading your statement and looking at it, and celebrate that win, because that means you stopped eating those Oreo cookies, that you changed fruit for the potato chips. Small steps can give you big results. Keep that in mind. Okay, so what does all of this mean for you? Talking about all of these things about money, you might be going, oh my gosh, Nancy, I knew, but I don't want to admit it. I had my head in the sand. And I hear that from so many of my clients. They're like, yeah, I just kept my head in the sand for the longest time until I said, okay, I got to do it. I got to have this change. And that's why we're having coffee today, just to say, okay, we need to talk. You'll know where your money is where your money is. You're going to feel less scattered and you're going to have more relief. Just even doing some of those smaller steps. And if you're a paper person, by all means, print off those statements, look at them, highlight them, staple them, file them. You go. And if you're like, man, but I don't want to hoard, I don't want to have all these statements, guess what? The smaller the container that you put it in, you only have so much. And if you, as they say, if you have your Apple iPhone 4 box, 5 box, 6 box, throw them away. Go and look at your old files and go, okay, I really don't need electric bills from 10 years ago. Shred them, recycle them, whatever, because that past is the past and you can't do anything about what your phone bill, what your landline, even that too. If you got a landline bill in your filing cabinet, you need to clean out that filing cabinet. That's something definitely to take care of. But I wanted to give you some options, and you're like, okay, yeah, thank you, because what do I do next, Nancy? So you can take this DIY journey. You can start exercising. You can start watching what you eat. You can pull up your app in order to do your calculations of your stuff. You need a budget, or there's Monarch Money, any of those types of things. That's great. I'll just tell you right now, any of those apps, and I used Quicken for so many years, none of those apps are going to tell you what your APR is. And having a list that's going to be right there in front of me that is going to say, hey, guess what? You're spending $900 a month on minimum payments. So there is something still to be said about writing it down or having it on a list or putting it in a spreadsheet, having it in black and white some way, somehow. And that's where my financial journal comes in. So it's a big, huge 250-page little guy here. But again, once you figure out August, you can go back all the way to January and say, okay, I need to have a little conversation with myself about what I've spent my money on this year. Because again, you're going to see those trends and go, oh, yeah. Well, that was the month that we had car troubles and we had to spend a lot of money in the automobile department, or that was the college visits or whatever. And the option two is booking a coaching call with me. I want to put that offer out there because some people don't know that there's a coach available to flex your money. Just like I learned how to flex my muscles. Seriously, I was so excited to do push-ups because, I never knew how to do push-ups. You look like a silly person back in high school when we did our physical fitness tests. It's like I couldn't do I was lucky to do 2 push-ups if I could do that. But I never learned how to build my muscles. So we're just building our financial muscles. So anyways, with even working with a coach, you got accountability. Yeah, I went to LA Fitness. I had a little booklet. She filled it out every time we did exercises. And so I had a documentation of my journey. And that was really important to go, wow, I've gone so far, even like a month after going, yeah, I only, lost 3 pounds, but I knew I was going to gain muscle, but I could see the progress that I had made in my pants. I went down a pant size. I mean, how Does that feel, sorry to women, but it's a little bit more important to women than it is to men, but we go down a pair of pants, it's like, hallelujah, where's the margarita? Well, wait a minute, I'm not supposed to drink the margarita because it's got sugar. But my point is that we have to celebrate those little wins, just like everything in life, whether it's your business or your family. Celebrating those wins is really, really important. And having an accountability buddy is important too. So don't leave your numbers as a blur. Find a way. You want to grab a piece of paper and you grab a notebook and you start writing that information in. Start looking at your statements, downloading them, putting them on your computer, things like that. Great. You have moved one step further to get where you want to go. Because you know what? You want to stop eating the Oreos because you're trying to lose weight. Don't buy them at the store. You've just saved money and you saved calories. But it starts with you. You have to make some of these changes. Nobody's forcing an Oreo cookie down your throat, but you're the one who's buying it at the grocery store. A little tough love here right now, but on a very small scale, that can really mean something. So documenting your numbers or having a call with me. So I wanted to let you know, geez, I don't know what's going on. I love how all of the technology works. I have all these beautiful things on my screen. But anyways, I'll show you this in my journal. Is that it has a whole bunch of different pages. Every single month you have something different. You have trackers and so forth in order to, you know, put all that information down. So every month you're looking at it going, okay, what am I doing? All right. This is my balance. This is how much I owe. This is my APR. So you're seeing that. If you don't want to even print those documents out for your statements, at least you can see that trend and go, woohoo, this is the card I'm working on. I'm putting extra money to it. It's going down. Woohoo. Because you're the only one that's going to party with you. Unless you tell your friends and you're like, hey, I just got rid of one of my credit cards. And they're like, good for you. How'd you do it? I'm telling you, they're going to be excited to know what your process was and just say, well, you know, I went to this workshop and this is what I learned and this is what you could do too. And they go, oh, I'm going to give that a try. You never know. The next time you see them somewhere, they'll go, yeah, I took your advice and now I'm doing that. But there's also a financial review. And with the financial review, you're going to take all of that information we talked about today, your credit score, your credit card information, your bills. You're going to take that time and like, okay, Nancy, yep. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get this together. And then I want to talk to you because I want you to help me with 1 hour of your time to help me figure out how this is going to work. How can I take my numbers, give me some guidance and go from there? Because having a improvement to your financial flow, which is your cash flow, your money coming in, is really, really important. So I invite you, if you're interested, have a 1 hour to review your finances and have a solid plan to move you forward. And just for this month only, I'm offering it for $97. So we're going to sit on the Zoom. We're going to crunch your numbers. We're going to talk about it. I'm going to give you some advice. And if you say, this is great, thank you so much. I'm on my way. I'm going to move forward. Fantastic. I'm going to be so happy for you. Because if coaching is not something for you, it's like, that's okay. But even a financial review is something simple that you can do in order to move yourself forward. So I wanted to go ahead and open it up. If there was any questions, I'm going to go ahead and stop share here. I'm going to put those links in the chat. But I just wanted to see if anybody had any questions regarding what you learned today, or if you have some questions about your personal situation.